I'm Rebecca of Pocketful of Poseys. Today's project is another installment on my journey to find supportive and well-fitting Regency era stays. Now, these are transitional stays. As the name suggests, these are stays that are a transitional undergarment between the heavily structured, heavily boned stays of earlier in the 18th century. In between that and the softer lines of the Regency era. So they have tabs like the older stays, and they do have boning. I think they have more boning generally than the Regency stays, although different transitional stays, of course, are all different. But I found a pattern online from Corsets by Caroline, and they are based on some transitional stays in the V&A Museum. And so I bought the pattern, and I knew I was going to need to size it up because it didn't go up to my size, but I wanted to see if these transitional stays would work for my body. So that's what I did, and I can't wait to share my journey with you. So without further ado, let's get to it. Here we go. I got started assembling the pattern. It's from Corsets by Caroline, and I shall link it down below. I started by cutting out the pattern in the largest size that it came in. So, I have gotten my pre-mock-up cut out, so I will be just putting that together. I'm not gonna line it or anything, and I'm just gonna use some of that sewn plastic boning stuff that I have for a ton of for some reason, just to see. I know it's not gonna fit me because it's a US size 22, but I want to put it together and see kind of where it sits on me, and then adjust it. Thor's tail. Adjust it up from there. And I'm a visual. I can't just like measure the pattern pieces and extrapolate what I need to do to make it fit me. Maybe I could. I don't know. I've never really tried, so math and I are not the best of friends. But anyway, so that is next. I'm just going to sew it all together and see where it ends up. A quick perusal of the pattern with Hercules, and I was ready to start mock-up assembly. Okay, I have just pinned the pattern pieces together, and obviously they're too small for me, but I just wanted to get a sense of what they would look like before I sew them together. I'm trying to decide if I want to even bother sewing them together, since pinned together it's obvious that of course they are too small. They are well below my size. But what I'm not totally sure about is that the cups are not that small. So I don't want to add a lot to those, but I definitely need to make some changes, because this is the armhole. It should be over here. So, and then of course the back Come on, Freya. This is the center back. I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, it's a lot smaller, of course, because it's a, I mean, it says it's a size, the biggest size is a US 22, and in patterns, I'm generally around a 30. So, maybe I will sew it all together. Although I think I can just kind of figure out what I need to do. So if this is the center back here, I need a lot more room in the back. And I'm actually thinking of making these front lacing. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of do a mock-up with them front lacing, but I'll go ahead and try some different, make some changes. So I think I'm going to cut here and add some more width across here and do another tab. So basically I'm going to just make this double, and then here I'm going to, I'm thinking do that. It's pretty much the same thing as well, just add extra tabs. And then for the front, I'm going to cut and add in here. And then cut down the middle and, you know, add enough to turn over. Instead of having a thick busk in the front, I'll just have bones on either side. Probably do the synthetic whalebone. That's what I have. I don't think I have any steel. But, so that is where we're at. And then, so I think maybe the thing to do would be to make the cut here on both pieces, and then add another tab, widen this out, and hopefully that would get the underarm closer. Anyway, we'll just have to do some more experimenting on this. I like the shape of these. I think they're going to be really, really good when I get them done. The second mock-up ended up too big, so I readjusted the pattern. Mock-up 3. I used twill tape for boning channels. I pinned the channels in place and sewed down both sides of each strip of twill tape. Hercules and I went with a combination of zip ties and synthetic whalebone because that's what I had. All right, I got all my boning channels sewn in, and then realized that I probably should have put the cups on first before I did that, but I don't think it'll make that much of a difference. I just have to, you know, make sure I don't hit any bones while I'm putting the cups in. And yeah, I ended up taking a little bit out of the back, because when I just kind of held it up to myself, I was getting an overlap in the front, and I don't want an overlap there because that's going to be laced. So I actually want to be able to pull it together. So I took a little bit out of the back. I had already put a bone in, so I just took out the same amount on either side of the bone. And I think that's going to be just fine. And yeah, so I'm going to get I need to cut the lining out. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to sew the lining and the twill together for the cups and do the gathering on those, then put the cups in, then put the lining in. And oh, I still need to attach the straps too, so off we go. I next worked on the cups and pinned the cotton lining to the twill, incorrectly the first time, but luckily I noticed and pinned them right sides together at the top edge. A quick ironing and it was time to sew. I need a sturdier sewing table. I trimmed the seam allowance, turned them right sides out, ironed, and marked the drawstring channel lines with a friction pin. After sewing the drawstring channels, I inserted the drawstrings. There are different methods you could use to insert a drawstring. You could use a safety pin, I've used a bobby pin, and a bodkin works nicely if you have one. I have a couple and I constantly misplace them. Hercules supervised as I made openings for the drawstrings with an awl. This awl is from Burnley and Trowbridge. Now to attach the cups to the stays. This is definitely more difficult if you put the boning channels in first, as I did. But I had lots of help and supervision. The bottom of the cups are gathered to fit. Lucius was especially helpful during this part. To the machine to sew in the cups. Again, it would have been easier before the boning was inserted. And I sewed one cup into the armhole. Seam ripping time. Lucius wanted to make extra sure my lining fabric stayed put. Hercules supervised attaching the lining to the stays, wrong sides together. Glad he caught that. I hand sewed the lining over the raw edges of the cups. We are in the home stretch. I have attached the lining, and around the cups I folded it over, or folded it to the inside and whip stitched around, and then around the rest I basted it. I just basted the lining and the outer fabric together, and so now it's binding. Although I kind of want to do a quick try on before. I need to cut off some of this excess, but I kind of want to do a quick try on. But in order to do that, I need to put lacing holes in, and I'm just going to optimistically hope that it fits well, and I'm going to go ahead and bind it and then do the lacing holes last. I haven't decided if I want to do hand bound eyelets or if I want to use metal ones. That is still to be determined. So off we go. For binding, I used linen tape from Burnley and Trowbridge, and it really was lovely to work with. I went with metal grommets, but didn't have enough for the straps, so I did those by hand. I added the lacing and put it on. I am almost happy with the fit. I wore them for a while and under my Regency dress, and my bust definitely needs more support. So I am going to add boning under the bust and at the sides. I will also add some padding into the cups. Don't tell me that ladies of the time didn't add padding or whatever to enhance their silhouettes. You know they did. I will also take out a bit more at center back because they are still a little bit big. That is all for the future. For now, these stays are what they are, and I'm going to make those adjustments, and I will update you all in a future video with the new fit. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you spending your time with me. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't, and if you'd like to be notified whenever I upload or whenever YouTube decides to notify you, hit that little bell icon. If you'd like to support the channel further, I have a Ko-fi account and that is linked down below. Please stay tuned for the continuation of my stays journey. I'm going to do some fiddling with these stays and I'll update you on where I get with those. But also I'm very excited to let you know that I am doing a collab with Shannon of Shannon Makes, and we are going to be making some 1940s trousers. And I'm really excited about this project. We're using the same pattern, and if you go check out her channel, which I think you should, I'll link it down below and somewhere, and go check out her channel, you will see that we are very different sizes, but we're using the same pattern. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this pattern works on both of our bodies. What do you think will be the most challenging about making 1940s trousers on a plus size body? Let me know down in the comments. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you again on our next sewing adventure. Bye! Different versions, different Lucius. Lucius is distracting me.